During a gloomy epoch of the Middle Ages, he aspired to be the light of truth and impudently opposed the power of the Catholic Church. Love and fidelity to Czechia, consistency and fearless frankness, in which John Hus lived and died, have turned him into a real national hero. John Hus was born in 1371 in the south of Czechia. Since his childhood, Jan sought knowledge, and after leaving school, studied linguistics, mathematics, astronomy, and the theory of music at Prague University. John Hus received a master's degree, and so the scientific career of the 25-year-old scientist could have developed quite successfully. But in 1396, Germany, which by that time had tried to subjugate Czechia for more than 100 years, conquered the capital of the country. At Prague University, where John Hus was a teacher, many of the professors were Germans who supported interventionalists. John Hus was not afraid to act against these teachers in the besieged Prague. Unexpectedly for Hus, the king of Czechia, Wenceslaus IV, took his side. The monarch issued a decree which protected the rights of Czech scientists at Prague University. It sounded as an appeal to exile Germans from other establishments and to restore the Czechs' rights in all the state. Hus's influence was growing. At the age of 30, he was elected as the dean of Prague University, and within a year, as the rector. However, at the university, Hus could give lectures to students only. But he wanted common people to listen to him. As only priests could preach in those days, John Hus took orders. At the sermon in the Bethlehem Chapel in Prague, not only capital's inhabitants gathered, but also people from neighboring settlements, and the church couldn't house all those who wished to. John Hus, being supported by the king and the people, acted more and more resolutely. He began to dispute not only the conquerors, but also the Catholic Church, which supported the aggressors, being afraid to lose their huge ground possessions. Persistently calling to deprive the church of its riches, Hus incited the clergy against himself. Confident in his rightfulness, Hus was not frightened at all by the threat of excommunication. When in the spring of 1412, the sellers of indulgence arrived in Prague, Hus organized debates among the students and teachers and suggested forbidding indulgences, the sale of which was consecrated by the Pope on behalf of the university. This was followed by the Pope's decree of John Hus's excommunication. But John Hus publicly declared, "I shall refuse to obey the Pope, even if you put the fire prepared for my body's burning before me." And this was like a prediction of his destiny. After promulgation of the Pope's decree, John Hus had to leave Prague. In exile, the rebel created his main work, About Church, in which he denies not only the necessity of papal authority, but also asserts that a person is not obliged to carry out any orders at all, neither of spiritual nor of secular authority, if he contradicts the Scripture. The one who does not use authority for noble purposes is not worthy of it. Because of this, landowners and his former supporters turned away from Hus. However, he won the love of common people. Crowds of peasants came to listen to the sermons of their idol. Inasmuch as excommunication did not stop the rebel, the clergy decided to call John Hus to the church council, which opened in the German city of Constance in November 1414. This sincere and innocent Czech patriot was so sure of his safety and innocence that he organized a great divine service, having gathered thousands of followers on the square of Constance. But in the Pope's residence, Hus was arrested and thrown into monastic prison. In a prison cellar, chained to logs, John Hus did not see the daylight for 70 days. Hoping that the rebels would have been broken, clergymen presented John Hus an ultimatum, offering a choice between renunciation and death. But for John Hus, the truth was above all. He answered, I choose not between life and death, but between the truth and lie. I have no need to renounce. Behind my renunciation, my treason would be hidden. The clergyman decided to curse and to destroy all books of the unrepentant heretic, and to burn him alive. On July 6, 1415, Jan Hus was brought to the place of execution near Prague. The logs prepared for the fire hardly inflamed, and then a poor woman, who happened to be at the place of execution by chance, threw some dry branches upon the fire. And Jan Hus, who had asserted the rights of common people and had sought after justice all his life, said submissively, "A simple soul." Since then, in Czechia, on July 6th each year, fires are lit all over the country in commemoration of Jan Hus, who remained firm and faithful to his beliefs. This fiery relay race has been passed on from generation to generation for 570 years.